Saludos y bienvenidos a todos to the PGP podcast. Hey, Josh Tobat, principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland ISD, Garland, USA, ready on episode 66. 66. Oh, my Lord. Great things are happening here with top-notch talent, top-notch education from across the United States, across the world. We just had Ghana on the other day. So thank you for being here. I don't know where you're seeing this, where you're going to see it live, or you're going to see it later on YouTube, on the rebroadcast. I don't know, but I want to thank you for being part of this experience because you know what? This is free PD. Free PD. So if you have something to offer, and all of us do, it doesn't matter if you're Alaska or you're Hawaii, if you're Maine or you're Florida or anywhere in the 48 middle, we need you. You bring the same talent. All of us need to deal with that mom who's angry about the cell phone. All of us need to deal with that mom that brings not enough cupcakes to the kindergarten class. All of us need to deal with that cheerleading mom. We all have the same concerns, just in different geographical locations. So if you want to talk about a specific topic, reach out to this lady right here or to myself to be part of the show because we need you. We need your experience. So last week I gave him homework there, Moreno, before I hand it over to you. And I failed to collect the homework. That happens sometimes. So right now on the chat, your homework was, who was your favorite custodian? Or who is your favorite custodian? We're going to send flowers every time, baby. Every time. All those people right now are working on the wax and the stripper. And they're buffing. Don't scratch their floors. Hey, educator, first year teacher, don't scratch the floors. Don't drag the tables. If you don't know right now. Don't find out the hard way because one person you don't want to get on your bad side is a custodian, especially the head custodian. So make sure that you give some shout outs. Put it on the chat right now and I'll go through the chat. Your favorite custodian out there. Moreno, ¿cómo estás? Are you in America? Are you in Houston? ¿Dónde estás?
I am home. Look at my spiders. My spiders are right here. I am home. I'm in Houston, Texas. I am back at my little casita. And Josh, you know what? Those custodians are working so hard. I just went to go visit a school here in Houston, a school that I hold dear to my heart because it's a nice school. I know the principal very well. Those custodians, let me tell you, están sudando. They're sweating. They are working hard. They come in early. They leave late. And let me tell you, I saw a teacher dragging there was a table and I was like, oh my God, let me help you. So I started helping her take that chair or what was a table. Oh my God. I was like, please make sure these floors have been waxed already. They're getting ready for the first days of school. The last thing you need is to have a black mark on the middle of the floor because guess what? They have to come back and either re-strip or re-wax or something. And oh my God, that is a lot of work. So please, 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 you're absolutely right. Take care of the floors, the walls, the painting, all of that. Really, really, those custodians work really hard. So thank you so much for doing a shout out to all of those custodians because they're working hard. And you know what? The cafeteria people, they're going to be working just as hard as soon as those kids come in and making all of that food. So we got to take care of those people as well because it takes a village to take care of the entire school.
Most definitely. So I always think about all the times I had to mop the floors at a Big 8. That was like a local grocery store in El Paso when you had to go sweep it and then you put your yellow signs and there's always that one fool with their cart goes down all of the cereal line and they leave those track of those four wheels and their footprints. Come on. It's a hard job. It is. So let's not make it harder for them. All right.
And I can see the text out there. You know what? Secretaries and clerks, those need to have shout outs too. We need to shout out to them.
Moreno, there's only one assignment because remember there's a law for homework. We can't do too much homework. It's only one assignment. Wait, you're killing my next week. You're killing my next week show. That's episode 67. Calm down. Remember, next week is the secretary show and the cafeteria worker. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Real quick, a Chinchilagua moment. Chinchilagua. Oh, I know Fonz knows Chinchilagua. I know you know Chinchilagua. But Tony, And Dr. Joe is like, what the heck is that? What's Chinchilagua? All right, guys, Chinchilagua is a Mexican game. Hey, Fonz, I'm going to ask you right now. Do you think other people besides Mexicans play that? I don't know. No, right? It's only Mexicans, right? So what we do is we get together like in big holidays, right? And then we line up against the wall and we yell, Chinchilagua y arriba, boy. And you run, jump start, and you boom, land on top of your cousin. And then the next fool, Chinchilagua y arriba, ball runs and boom, lands on top of your grandma. And everyone just keeps on going. And it's all fun and games. Everyone's laughing. There's like 15 Hispanics climbed up on top of each other until someone gets hurt. Until that one 8-year-old falls off, cracks his head open, then your other grandma comes out with a belt and the chancla and the coat hanger starts hitting everybody. All right. So it's all fun and games right now. It's happy moments. You know what? I believe that in our home, we had awesome 6 days of PD. It was all in-house. We had 2 district ones. You know, we had national speakers come in, Jorge Valenzuela, Katie Kinder. You know, I believe in bringing in people that have that piece that I don't have to supplement my vision and always do the engaging part. Always as a leader, I believe that I need to role model teaching what the expectation is. So when I'm in the classroom saying, this is what I did during PD, make sure you follow along the same line. You have to speak it and walk it to make sure you have that street cred when it comes down to pedagogy. And we always have a hashtag. Well, more often than not, a lot of schools, you cannot generalize education. But then you lose it. So whatever you start off with, a theme, don't lose it because that's your vision. That's the spirit that you have right now. That's all social media right now. Todo, por todo el lugar. In New Jersey, in Delaware. And I'm seeing all of these posts with everyone having fun things happening. My point to you is, hashtag don't lose the fun. Right now, you're refreshed. Right now, you miss taking a picture of your toenails with a margarita at the beach. I saw all of your feet. Hey, educator, I saw all of your feet at the beach and all your unpainted nails. And some of you better paint your nails. And you were all taking pictures saying how relaxing and blah, blah, blah. Good, relax. I'm glad. Don't forget that. Don't forget that moment when in Hiroshima, late October, early November, boom, the first one goes off. Don't forget Hiroshima, Nagasaki in October, March, April. Those times, those are the 2 periods when everyone goes haywire. Mm-hmm. Don't lose the fire of the hashtag. Don't lose the happiness. Because normally everyone loses it by the famous day 100. You have all these posts from elementary only because middle school tapped out, high school tapped out. You have all these schools of the day 100 celebration, day 100. All right. No, let's all be on board because as long as we keep on celebrating and honoring our vision, our scholars will always be at the top of their game because we are at the top of our game. Moreno?
Absolutely, Josh. And you know what I would do as well? Because guess what? Principals normally get really busy and boggled down. I would really assign someone to kind of help make sure that we are keeping that fun going on. And so assign something, assign it to somebody, someone who doesn't have a lot of responsibilities and is looking for like a leadership role. Give them something small like this, right? Something small like this so that they can then make sure that they are continuing that little theme, whatever it is. It's a small little token that's going to go a long way. And someone who's looking for that leadership opportunity, give them something like that. It's easy. It's easy to do that they can kind of keep the momentum. They saw it. They felt it, all the energy at the beginning of the year. Hey, help me continue that throughout the year. So that's how I would do it because I'm telling you, Josh, we get busy. We get busy as principals and we forget. So if we just have somebody else kind of help us with that joy, that fun, that excitement, hey, it's going to be a great year.
Most definitely. And today, another panel of great educators who will provide free PED. But if you want a flashback, go back to episode 64 with our first podcast smash where we had Barbara Bray. We had the 2 principals, Kevin Jost and Jason Parras, and Mama J. Mama J was here in the house, who just started her 2nd season of the podcast smash. But without further ado, I will introduce you to the panel of podcasts. Oh, my Lord. Podcast smash number 2. Uh-oh, and Joshua's having fat fingers right now. Moment. Welcome, panel. Welcome to the PGP podcast, part of the Fantastic Four Network with Coach Hurt, 10 o'clock, Facebook Live every Saturday, Super Saturday. Tammy, Chica at 10:30, and El Jefe, 10:55, Principal Cafele, following who just had an awesome guest, Principal L. Welcome to the show, panel. Dr. Moreno, take it away.
I'm so excited to have all of you here, and we are going to learn so much from all of you. And we have also another special guest on the call. We're going to talk a little bit about what Tony just won. So we'll get through all of that in just a few minutes. But guys, before we get any further into our podcast, we need to let everybody know who you are. I know you guys are all famous and you guys all have your own podcasts, but there's some folks out there that just don't know who you are yet. So we want to make sure that everybody knows a little bit of background on your story. So we're going to start off with the main Dr. Mendoza, who just became a doctor just 2 weeks ago. I'm super excited. Congratulations, sir, being named Dr. Mendoza. Doesn't that sound good?
It sounds great. It's fantastic. Thank
awesome.
you.
We're going to start off with you, sir, because I'm super excited that you finally kind of made over that hump and you're in the world of the doctors now. But let's just start off with Dr. Mendoza. Tell us a little bit about your origin, how you started, a little background, and the roles that you served as an educator.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I'm always excited. So a little bit about myself, born and raised in the Rio Grande Valley. If you don't know where that's it, find San Antonio and drive 4 hours south. That's exactly where I'm from. Born and raised in Edinburgh, Texas. And this has been my home ever since. And just for you to know, I never wanted to go into education. That was not my goal. My goal is go to college. I actually have a bachelor's in business administration. I said, hey, I'm going to go into business. And of course, being an only child with immigrant parents, there's a lot of responsibilities. Like, hey, I got to take care of my parents. So I'm going to go look for that bag and make that money. Well, fork in the road moment, I had to transition into education due to parent being sick and had to be around. And as you know, a lot of responsibility there. But you know what? I fell into education and I absolutely fell in love with it, that this is going to be my 19th year in education. And this is how much I loved education, that when I got into my role in the service center and doing instructional technology, I said, you know what? I need to equip myself, get my master's in educational technology. And just 2 weeks ago, I got my doctorate degree in educational technology. So this is my way of paying back what education has done for me. And I'm just excited to be here with you all and just to share just knowledge and share stories and, you know, how we can all work together to continue to grow our education space. So thank you so much for the invite.
Oh, Dr. Mendoza, I'm so proud of you, sir. I'm so proud of you. So hats off to you. And you know what? Your podcast is amazing. And people are so afraid of AI that they need to listen to your podcast so that they can learn more. Mira, I'm telling you, look at this man right here. So kudos to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And let's move on to the National Principal of the Year. It was just named. It was just, so tell everybody a little bit of, kind of spoiled the thunder there, but I don't know if you're going to tell everybody or not, but I want to make sure everybody knows, sir, Mr. National Principal of the Year. Tony, tell us a little bit of your story, your background, your origin, and roles you've served.
Yeah, well, thanks for first of all for having me on the show. I've been talking with Josh for quite some time, so I'm really excited to be here. But yeah, it's been a crazy road. This was never part of the plan to be the National Principal of the Year. I am a father of 4 daughters and a beautiful wife. My wife's Kate. Her birthday is today, so I'm in a little bit of trouble being on the show tonight, right? Because we had to leave the Jersey Shore to get back here and get on the show. And now, we're going out to dinner in about, 45, 50 minutes. They're waiting for me. But I've been the proud principal of Lenape High School in New Jersey for the past 19 years. I've been in education for 27 years, and I absolutely love what I do, working with my staff, my amazing staff. I have my fingerprints all over the building. I've hired about 75% of our staff. I've been there before these kids were born, right? 19 years as principal of this building, 27 years in the same district, becoming a teacher to a assistant principal to a principal within the district. and I just love what I'm doing. But it's been a whirlwind recently. In this past summer, as I was named the NASSP Principal of the Year, Secondary School Principal of the Year, met a lot of great people, and was designated that honor on July 9th of this past summer. So it's been crazy, lots of different opportunities, lots of different learning, but I'm super excited to be here and just starting a new journey here in my career.
Super excited, and thank you so much for taking some of your time to be with us this evening. And again, sir, congratulations! Such a big honor. So appreciate you. And last but not least, Dr. Griffin, kind of tell us your accolades, sir, because I know you have done amazing things, sir.
Great day, great day. Thank you, Mara. Thank you, Josh, for having me. I definitely appreciate the opportunity to share with such amazing educators. Congratulations on that doctorate degree, as well as on the National Principal of the Year as well. So that's awesome. So I'm Joe Griffin. I am originally from Clarksdale, Mississippi, which is the home of the blues. The National Blockbuster Centers is set there. That's where I'm originally from. I currently live in Los Angeles, and during my career, I had an opportunity to work with several different school turnarounds. I became a school turnaround principal in my home state. I was able to go around the state and turn around 5 different schools in different areas around the state. And I've since been in California, have been authoring and working with educational leaders around the United States. Connection, empowerment, collaboration. I'm all about teamwork, putting people in situations where they could be successful and flourish every day. So I'm thankful to be here, you all. Thanks for having me.
Dr. Griffin, let me tell you, being a turnaround principal is no joke. That is some hard lifting there, sir. So congratulations. And you didn't do it not one time, not 2 times. You did it 5 times. And so you know what? Kudos to you. And I hope many, many people out there are listening to our show today. And I know you're going to drop some knowledge, because you know what? Doing that is hard work. And I hope you are continuing to inspire all these principals, because you know what? The work only gets harder every year. And so thank you so much for joining us today, so that you can, again, continue to inspire all those principals out there who are trying to make, a difference and turning around their own schools, right?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Josh.
All right. Big shout out to the family that's here with us. Dot McKeever Jeter, our number 1 PR agent. Miguel Castillo, who will be here in a couple of weeks for our EB show. The recently crowned new doctor out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Dr. Melissa Jones-Chunu. Also with you, Dr. Fonz. We got my sister from South Carolina, Go Gamecocks, Chica Houston. Profe Laws, ¿qué hubo, carnal? ¿Cómo estás? Gracias for #ganas. Constant Sherrard, guest in 4 weeks, I believe. Our MTS show. Who else am I missing? Where am I missing? I don't want to miss anybody else. This is what happens when you go live there, Tony. You got to make sure you give a love to the fans, love to the people that are spending their Sunday with you. I think that's it. Oh, and there's this handsome doctor. His name is Doc Mendoza. He's right there. And Andrea Bidner out of Philly, even though they're not going to win the NFC East. All right, Andrea, thank you for being here. Also great EB person that will be on that show. Let's break it down real quick, guys. And you know what, Tony? Family first. That is my mantra. At any time you got to tap out, ahí te guacho. That's a Hispanic saying, see you later, alligator. So if you got to tap out, we got you. But we'll start off with you, Tony. Let's peel back that again. La cebolla. Vamos a hacer la cebolla para atrás. Let's get that hair. Well, hold on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that hair. Who is your role model in education? Who is your role model in education? And who inspired you to be an educator? Who's your role model right now? And who inspired you to be an educator?
Yeah, so my role model right now, I have several. My life turned around in 2017. I was thinking about quitting the job, to be honest with you. And I fell in love with a couple of different people that I came at a conference. The Todd Whitakers and Joe Sanfilippos and Jimmy Costas of the world, man, just really turned me around, gave me a different perspective. I think those 3 guys, I think I model a lot after of my school, and really listen to a lot of things they do, their podcasts. They truly inspire me. But an educator that I came across that was in college. I didn't love high school. I loved high school playing sports. I wasn't a great student, even in college, but I came across a professor, this guy, Dr. Fopiano, at Rowan University here in New Jersey, who just had this way about him, of connecting with people and being real and authentic and vulnerable. And I really felt at that moment like this is what I want to do. I thought this is how I kind of model myself. If I could teach this way, then I think I'm going to be pretty successful. So, but that was one of the first ones that light bulbs went on for me, was seeing Dr. Fopiano at Rowan University teaching how he handled himself in so many different ways. But professionally, how I kind of model myself after now, I think has got to be the Joe Sanfilippo's and Jimmy Costas and Todd Whitakers of the world. I mean, they're the big dogs that I follow. And, I've gotten an opportunity to kind of talk to them and pick their brains a lot closer in the past few years. And I have a lot of people I follow and a lot of inspirations doing the Proud Principals podcast. But yeah, I think those people are the ones that really have encouraged me a bunch.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, and Shika, guess what? Tony, he just dropped off his baby in Gamecockville. He is a proud Gamecock. So just heads up on that. We have another Gamecock fan in the house. Dr. Joe, who inspires you right now, and who inspired you to be an educator?
Well, I'll be remiss if I didn't say Big Brother Principal Kafele. He's definitely the biggest inspiration on my career, my research, as well as my practice. I mean, I actually been following him since my specialist work. Back in 2010, I quoted him in some of my work back then, and continued to follow him and things of that nature. So he's definitely the person that I admire. And with anybody that you admire, of course, you still got to always be yourself as well. So I admire him, but I'm still myself. A teacher, you said a person that
who inspired you to be an educator?
Who inspired me to be an educator? I would have to say it was my parents are educators, even though my mom's raised me as a single mother. My dad, he was also an educator also, and I fought against it. I didn't really want to be. I said I wasn't going to be an educator all the way up until I walked through the doors. And I became an educator and actually got on the job when a teacher's husband came up and did some domestic violence. And this is like January. So I came in, I started teaching, I ended up having my license by that February. So yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing that. That's some heavy stuff right there. And that happens in our field. We learn all that. Mm-hmm. And before I hand it over to Fonz, Dr. Fonz, I just want to give him his flowers. We all started this thing known as podcasting during Rona. We all did. The person that started me on the educational podcasting, you hear somebody, was that cat right there. That cat right there is the one that started me. He had this video where he was like some groovy music and he was standing against the wall. And bro, I don't know why you got rid of that. This new funky one that you have right now, I kind of feel like groovy not. I can't do that at the gym, but
I'll bring it back.
I love it, bro.
We'll do a throwback Josh Tovar edition.
There we go. I love it. And before I hand the stick over to you, bienvenido al jefe, el jefe de jefes, Principal Kafele in the house. Saludos, Jefe Kafele. Fonz.
All right. Well, for me, I'll be honest with you, very similar to what Dr. Joe was saying. I never intended to go into education, but when I did, the person that came to mind as far as the way that I led my practice in education, coming in fresh from the business world and just, you go through alternative certification and it's like, hey, you've got enough business math hours to be a math teacher. But it would have to be the person that inspired me was not a teacher at the time, but it was actually a substitute teacher. And I always love to share this story because of the impact that a substitute teacher can have. So I'm sitting there in 9th grade biology class in Mr. Margot's biology class, and Mr. Margot is out and Mr. Rodriguez comes in and he's our sub. And we knew that once we had Mr. Rodriguez, that was it. Like, we are going to do something that's not even part of the teacher's lesson plan at all whatsoever, but it's something that still ties and it's going to still be biology and we're going to learn. And so he came in on the board. He just wrote C. Hopkins Cafe. And that's just an acronym for the 7 elements that the human body needs for you to continue to exist, to live. So up until this day, I still remember those elements, not right off the bat, but it takes me a little while still to remember. But it was all about how he made us feel. He helped us learn in a way that just made it simple and easy, getting to the point, no fluff. But again, it goes back to the way that he made us feel. And I ran into him several years later when I became a teacher. And at the time, he was much older. And I saw him in a doctor's office, and I went up to him. He was, older, and he's like, still kind of maybe dealing a little bit with dementia. He goes, I don't know you. I don't remember you at all. But I told him, I was like, Mr. Rodriguez, I just want to let you know that I've never forgotten C. Hopkins Cafe and the way that you made us feel in the classroom. And I said, now that I'm a teacher, I understand what it is to plant that seed and not see the fruit till later on. But that moment, I just said, you know what, this is what it is to teach, is you're planting those seeds. And sometimes you'll get to see that fruit because people will come by, people will say, hey, you were my teacher. Sometimes we don't see that fruit, but you know that they're going to be doing something better. So for me, it's just about planting that seed, having somebody else water it, and eventually just having somebody really just reap those rewards, whether they're in business, whether they're in education or a family man. But that's really what I learned about teaching. And currently, similar situation with my current doctoral chair. He was one that said, you know what, when you came into the program, you already had something special about you. And all we did was just help polish that up. But you already came with it. And again, it's all in how he made me feel, how he approached me, taking the time to talk to me and just answer all my questions. And that's really how I've always done my teaching. It's all about listening first, and then I can go ahead and teach. So those are my two big influences there, Dr. Rodriguez and Dr. Corbet.
Eso, así me gusta. Beautiful stories, everybody, because that's who we are. We're in the best profession out there. The profession that creates all the other professions, education, whether it be from pre-K, Head Start, all the way to your chair. Awesome. Stick.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your stories and your backgrounds and providing some information to our fellow audience out there. Before we start moving into our podcast questions for you guys, I wanted to just give you guys an opportunity to brag a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you did over the summer to rejuvenate. Because you know what? We all need that time to unplug, do something fun, because this work is hard. This work has so much stress and so much pressure. And so I wanted to kind of give you guys an opportunity to, one, what did you do over the summer to rejuvenate? And then two, a podcaster that you admire. Because I'm sure in all of that, you were listening to podcasts, because that's what we do, right? So we're going to start off with Dr. Joe Griffin. What did you do to rejuvenate, sir, and a podcast that you listen to?
Yeah, revive and rejuvenate. That's what I did this summer, actually. I actually took off from the live stream for about 6 weeks. And the reason I did that was because my oldest son lives here with me, but I also had my youngest son. So I didn't want to be, taking time out to prepare for the live stream. And here's the kicker on top of having my two sons here with me. I mentioned earlier that I was raised by a single mom, as well as my father was also an educator, but I had them in the house with me for about 2 weeks. And that's only the second time in my life where I've had them under the same roof. The other time I was also an adult, about 4 or 5 years ago, I had them for a night or two, but I had them in the house with me, both of them under the same roof for about 4 or 5 days. And we were actually together for a span of 2 weeks. So you talking about revive and rejuvenate, that filled me up so much. It filled me up so much just being able to have that experience with my parents. And I know that's probably small for people who grew up with their parents and things of that nature, but that was empowering for me. So that definitely revived and rejuvenated me. A podcaster, again, I got to go with my boy Kafele. I mean, I can't lie on live stream. So yeah, that's
he is Principal Cofelli does have the street cred, let me tell you. So you know what? You ain't joking when you say that's a podcast to listen to. I would also give you snaps to that as well. Good job. But you know what? Let me just go back to what you were talking about, your parents. You know, I don't have my parents. So you know what? When you can enjoy it, have fun, and really, really treasure those moments. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and now I'm alone. I don't have my mom or my dad. And man, I sure miss them, especially during holidays. So kudos to you, sir. And I'm so glad that you had them at the same time. And man, it just kind of fueled you up. And so I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Fonz, what did you do, sir? Tell me something fun. I know you did something. You didn't stay in Edinburgh. I hope you didn't stay in Edinburgh,
Well,
sir.
I think for me, it's just always learning. It's like even when I unplug, like I'm still working, but I'm working on myself, and investing in myself. So what I did is actually I went to ISTE this year and it was great. I took my wife with me. So that was great. I moderated a couple of panels, did a couple of presentations and everything. So for me, believe it or not, I do have my regular 8 to 5 job at a district, but for me, even just unplugging and being in that element, it helps really fuel me, if that makes any sense, even though it's still work. But the best thing was just really finishing my dissertation and now relaxing. Like I don't have to worry about I've got deadlines, I've got to write, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. So now I'm really like enjoying this time off where I get to participate on these shows and just really connect with other people. So to me, that's been really the highlight. And just again, it helps rejuvenate. And of course, family time. Thankfully, I am blessed that I still have my dad will be turning 90 this year in October, and my mom will be turning 81. So they're still around and they're still healthy. They're still up and about. And I'm just like, you know what? I hope I have that kind of energy, as I get older too, as well, because they are still like sharp. Like they are sharp. And so they've been wonderful. But also, like I mentioned to you, I always love investing in myself and working, and learning. And although at this particular time, I can say that maybe, leadership as far as, school leadership might not be there yet. I mean, I said, you know what? It's better to be prepared and not need it than need it and not have it. So as far as podcasters that I listen to a lot, I definitely listen to Darren Peppard. He's got a lot of great leaders there. And my boy, who I just saw right now in the chat also, Joshua Stamper, I listen to those podcasts too as well, and just really get to learn from their style of podcasting, maybe in a podcast or two, but also from the amazing guests that they have, and just really just take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and sprinkle it onto what I'm doing. And hopefully, like I said, when it's ready and time to take that step, then hey, we're ready, we're equipped, and we're ready to go.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much. And man, you have your parents and they're set. I mean, I'm just shocked. That's awesome. That's awesome that you still have them and cherish every moment with them. Tony, you're still in the chair, sir. And you said 19 years. You're going on your 19th year, I think you said.
Yep.
I know you had to unplug, sir. Please tell me you unplugged this summer.
I wish I said I did too much, but I'll be honest with you. We graduated June 17th, and prepping for the NASSP conference where I had to do a presentation for the National Principal of the Year in front of the 49 other Principals of the Year from every state was not super relaxing, to be honest with you. And some different media requirements they have you do and things like that. So it wasn't really super relaxing, but I got to rejuvenate and I got to really re-energize myself at the conference, meeting so many people from across the country and the opportunities that NASSP provided me in this Illuminate conference, because they brought all the state principals out of the year from across the country out on Tuesday. And then the conference started on Friday. So we had about 3 days of different interacting, networking, learning about advocacy and a lot of different things. And it's always super cool for me to learn from other people that are having just different experiences and approach things differently and think a little bit differently. So it really encourages me in a lot of ways. Once I got back, it was a whirlwind, to be truthful with you. And then we hosted a educational leadership summit at my school 1 week from the day I got back. So I was thrown right back into it. We had 175 school leaders from New Jersey sharing best practices. It was a little Ed Camp feel. And then that night, on July 22nd, that night, we got done around noon. We were 9 to 12 on the summit. And then I flew out for Disney with my family at 5:30 at night that night. So I told everybody, get out of my school. I got to get the heck out of here. I got to catch a plane. So then we flew to Disney. If anybody's been to Disney, you know that's not a vacation, right? Especially with 4 kids, right? So, I mean, I have a 21-year-old, a 21, a 19, a 17, and a 12-year-old, right? So it's hotter than all get up. And we're walking around trying to smile and keep our faces on, look at Mickey and all that stuff. That wasn't super relaxing either, to be honest with you. But I love Disney. I tell people all over the place, it's the only place my daughters hold my hand. At 21 and 19 years old, we walk through the parks holding my hand. So I pay thousands of dollars for my daughters to hold my hand, to be truthful with you. And then we come back, and then it's, we had to get my daughter, my Elena, 19-year-old, get ready for South Carolina, have a party here for her graduation party. And then we drove in 36 hours. We were down to Columbia, dropping her off, and then driving straight back after being there for 12 hours with her. So today we got to the Jersey Shore, relaxing there, which I love to go to the Jersey Shore. It's about 45 minutes from my house. If you've never been, you got to come. And if you have a place to stay, I'm here. It's a great spot, but we just got back about before the show started, maybe 30 minutes ago, from sitting on the beach, my toes in the sand, relaxing. But I'm a student of leadership. So I'm always listening to Josh's, shows, to a lot of different people, and reading books, talking with people. But my 2 go-tos are Darren Pepper. Fonz, you talked about it. Lean Into Leadership is one of my favorites. When I drove 20 hours in the past 48 hours, I listened to The Interview Chair with Jimmy Casas and Lean Into Leadership with Darren Pepper. Those are my 2 go-tos. I think Jimmy announced a ways back that he had like 150,000 downloads, and I bet I'm about maybe 6,000 of them. Right? Because I listened to every one of Jimmy's shows. And then to be a guest on this summer, to be a guest on The Interview Chair was like mind blowing. And then to be on Darren's show was like mind blowing with this whole NSSP thing. So, and then to be here, this is just surreal, to be honest with you. So I listened to a lot of those folks and a lot of you here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it just feels, you guys just sound so excited about everything you guys did this summer, including holding the hands with your daughter at Disney World, or Disneyland. So thank you so much again for your information and for the support, you guys. Guys, like and share. Everybody out there in the audience, like and share the podcast. Guys, just wait till until you hear the information these people are going to be sharing about their podcast and information they share, because it's amazing. So again, if you haven't already done it, like and share, and please make sure you also comment. We want to hear from everybody out there as far as what is going on in your world. So, Josh, take it.
Shout out from Ghana, Da Costa, last week's guest, our international teacher show. Ghana in the house. Love it. Awesome job. We had Malawi last week, Malawi and Guatemala. It's about learning from everybody. We all need to make sure that we connect with all educators across the globe. So real quick, guys, let's get into who you are. When I say that, I'm talking about the specificity. That's my only fancy word for today. Specificity of your podcast. So, Tony, I want you to tell me when you started it, what the format is. I've heard all your shows.
Yep.
You're not the same. I've heard tons of shows. None of them are the same.
Right.
Yep.
So, when did you start it? What's the format, and who's your target audience?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Josh, I started. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary in September. It was. So that's when I started. So I'm coming up my 1-year anniversary. The format is this. I just want people to talk and brag about themselves, and be able to brag a little bit, because this job is really tough and can be super isolating as an educational leader. And it was, I want you to be able to teach others about your best practice and share your best and your most passionate components of your job, right? Of your profession. And my show always starts with, it's very simple, is what's your proudest principal effort? And it ends with, why are you personally proud of this? And 2, who do you usually tell your most proud efforts to? Right. And a lot of times we don't share our proudest efforts. I don't come home very often and talk to my wife about work, because by the time I get home, I only have about a 10-minute drive from my school to my house. I really want to kind of keep that somewhat separated. Right. And I don't want to talk about all the challenges or sometimes the successes. And sometimes she doesn't want to hear it either. Right. Yeah. So I need to keep that in that framework there. And my college buddies don't want to hear about collegiate cafes and peer observations. They just don't, right? They're in the insurance world. They're in whatever. We go out to a bar and a restaurant. They're not talking about, my walk-through observation that I'm giving feedback on Voxer. Nobody cares about that, right? So nobody's talking about that information. So I wanted to create an audience where, other school leaders can listen to and be inspired and know that, that it's okay to share best practices. I was tired of going to meetings and all we talked about were, state testing, short budgets, difficult parents, and we would just commiserate in misery. And I started going to my local meetings in my county and then to the state and started saying like, man, when are we going to share best practices? Like, when are we going to talk about good stuff? And I started infusing that into every meeting I went on those levels. And it started to take off a little bit. And it started making people feel good and be proud. And they started recognizing the joy versus stepping over the joy to get to the task they had to do. And so that's when I started. So a year ago, it's a crazy story how I started, but that's when I started in September.
What's the name of your podcast?
Yep. Proud Principals Podcast.
I don't know, Tony.
It's pretty simple.
I enjoy having Jägermeister shots talking about data walls. I don't know about your two. All right, I don't know. You guys are pretty dry over there in New Jersey. Because doesn't everyone do shots? Talking about data walls? Come on.
Yeah, I don't know what circles you're running in, but I thought the same circles I run in then, Josh. I don't know. I got to find different friends.
Hey, and you know what? And I'm going to say what you don't want to say, Tony. And I'm going to say before I hand it over to Fonz. He also does that because there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of haters. And they have masters and PhDs. And they're haters. Because people hate those who make them feel their own inferiority.
Yeah, and I'm going to be straight with you, Josh. I'm going to jump in there too because I've been asked to have some different people on my show. People that are extremely prominent. And one of my philosophies for me is there are so many great school leaders that are out there across the country, and I've met so many through the years that you don't know of yet. Right, like the Lindsay Allens from Georgia to the Laura Tobiases from Pennsylvania, right? Like. The Ryan Cordia from Las Vegas, like people don't know of them yet. And I've been asked, like, put some big names on there, man, blow this thing up. And I'm like, yeah, those big names are there. That's great. But I want all these people that haven't had their voice out there yet. And it's so empowering to them and to us. And it's just been fantastic for me. It's been fantastic for them, fantastic for me, and for the profession.
I love it. That's a great politician right there. The principal of the year. Tony Catani, love it, but they're still haters. Fonz.
Yes, sir. Well, the name of the podcast is called My EdTech Life, and we just turned 5 this April 10th. We have 333 episodes. We have over 100,000 downloads, and it's been an amazing journey. Just it all started again with during the lockdown and everything. So what happened is I was part of a global Google educators group. And we started doing live streams just all day long, helping educators across the world. I was doing a lot of Spanish streaming also as well, and helping all our Spanish-speaking teachers as well just get ready, turn on the switch. Let's go. We're going virtual. Here are some of the apps that you can do. And so I said, you know what? Maybe I want to do something more local here to the RGV. So I started on April 10th, 2025. And we started talking about virtual and just making that switch, what's working, what's not. Then the podcast kind of took a little turn too, where it was a little bit more ed tech, but it was more like, how are you doing? Like, how are you getting over this? What's going on? How are our students acting? How can we, get them back? So it was just really like a nice mix there. And then of course, now that, we've gotten over that, it's just strictly focused on AI since November 2022, which turned out that just to tell you about the power of podcasting is my podcast was actually my dissertation. It was my research for my dissertation. So because it's all archival data, every single guest that I've had from founders, teachers, professionals, everybody, you name it, that was my data. And so my dissertation is called Beyond the Hype, Exploring the Practical Realities, Ethical Concerns, and Privacy Implications of AI in Education. So my prof was like, this is probably, I've never seen anybody do this,
Me neither.
turn their podcast into their dissertation. So there's a lot of power in all that data and just looking through it, bringing it out. And so now my podcast focuses on that, just the privacy concerns. Where are we going? Are we going backwards? Are we moving forward? What are some of the new things? And like Tony said, one thing that I love about my podcast is, yes, I've had, big names, and people will send me emails like, hey, let's have this person on the show and this person on the show. But believe it or not, that most of my guests, I'm scrolling through, TikTok, social media, and it's finding those voices that nobody knows yet. And I've been able to get some voices on here that nobody knows yet. And now all of a sudden they're like on other people's podcasts
Yes.
and so on. And that's what I'm all about. I'm just about, number one, like Josh always says, PD at your fingertips. This is my 1 hour of professional development that I get with who I see as an expert, or they tell me their story and their experience, but I get to share it with the world. And then it's about just growing the network and obviously bringing something of value that's going to help our educators continue to grow and be leaders in that conversation. So it's all about that for me. And it's been my passion for the last 5 years. And I don't think I'm going to be stopping anytime soon, because it'll probably just continue my study and just be taking data from all these wonderful people and just start publishing some of that data and what we're seeing. So it's just been a great journey, and I'm loving every bit of it. And I'm just thankful that, like Josh mentioned earlier, that I was able to inspire him to get into the podcast space. And he'll be there texting me like, hey, hermano, like, what do I buy? What do I do? This and that. And I'm just like, do this, use this, do that. And here he is, and I'm loving it. I just love sharing the power of podcasting with people.
He does. He told me that clicking 2 rocks was not going to help the podcast. So I thank you. Thank you, sir, for that. You've made this podcast much better without the 2 rocks. Dr. Joe Griffin.
The Empowerment Zone, Volume 2 from the Speaking Life Leadership series. That's the title of the podcast. We started about a year ago, so we are a year old now. Did about 42 episodes or 42 professional developments during Volume 1. That's also the goal for Volume 2. I'm not trying to do hundreds consecutively, but I want to make sure I'm consistent for my people as well. Format is generally me and a guest. I generally run my viewers through a series of episodes, like I started out with intentionality, mindset, and then we talked about data today. That's kind of start out. Then next week I'll have an assistant superintendent out of Missouri, and then we'll continue on with some other guests from different places. Target audience, leaders and teachers. And I think this is important, you all, because in funds, I'm with you on your dissertation. I'm gonna tell you something in a minute, but teachers and principals, the collaboration piece. I feel that the professional development, we got to co-join some of those professional developments in order to ensure that the collaboration actually occurs at higher levels. All the separate professional development, of course, we need some of that as well, but teacher-principal collaboration, in fact, that's actually the name of one of the books, Empowering Education Communities, a guide for teacher-principal collaboration. So my live stream represents that collaborative process. I always talk about actionable activities that both leaders and teachers can take. And funds, the fact that you did that with your dissertation is powerful. So my dissertation is on discipline culture. Discipline-culture. I coined it. That's the collaborative way in which teachers and administrators work together to handle the issues and how that impacts the instructional practice. So it's twofold. But I turned that into a book as well, not a podcast, although a lot of the information comes from it. But discipline culture plus instructional practice equals performance. The DIP approach stems from discipline culture and integrated leaders role, which was my dissertation piece. So we connect right there, funds, and basically keeping that research up, also putting it into practitioner work and being able to share it out, because we can keep it inside, but won't anyone ever have an opportunity to use that research, to use those practitioner experiences that we had. So, yeah.
Thank
I
you,
get
gentlemen, for
excited.
sharing. I appreciate those words. And most importantly, I'm a fan, and I've taken away a little bit from each one of you. Appreciate it. I don't believe in becoming stagnant water, even though I'm starting year 33. Will not do that. I refuse to do that, because if I do that, I'm cheating my scholars, and I will not cheat them, and I will not become stagnant water. So I got to reach out to different avenues. I'm having an issue with that AI stuff, but I will work on that. Stick.
Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, just to kind of get the podcast moving, let's go ahead. And this is actually a two-part question, and I'm going to start off with you, Dr. Mendoza. Okay.
All right.
It's a two-part question, and I want you, since we all talked a little bit about your podcast and who your target audience is and the format, talk to everybody about what have you learned? What have you learned so far in creating this podcast? And then I want you to tell me about an interview that stood out, as far as somebody that you interviewed. You're like, wow, I still remember that podcast like if it was yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. So what I've learned from podcasting is really just a lot of perseverance, just a lot of learning, and just getting clicky with it. There isn't a perfect format. There isn't a perfect, way of doing things, because each person has their own style, but it's great to just learn from others that have done it ahead of you. But the best advice that I ever got, and that I always give anybody who's ever interested in podcasting, is the advice that was given to me by the guy, I call him the godfather of podcasting for EdTech, which is Chris Nesi. And he told me, he's like, just click record. That's it. Just click record and get it out there. So I've learned through the power of podcasting how to overcome imposter syndrome too, as well. So those are some of the big takeaways for me: getting over imposter syndrome, putting myself out there, and really making a connection and seeing the power and value of what I call the professional learning family, which is all my guests. They all become part of my family, and they always have an invite back to the show at any time. And that's one thing that I let them know. Once a guest, you're always a guest. But it's just the power of connections, the learning, and overcoming imposter syndrome, and learning how to improvise, adapt, and overcome a lot of situations. It's very similar, and all those skills are completely transferable into the classroom. Us as educators, having the ability to improvise, adapt, and overcome is something that is, it's ingrained in us, because we got to do it each and every day. The lesson plan may not work that day. We need a shift. We got to move on and do something different. And those are the major concepts that I've learned from that. And as far as episodes, the most memorable, and I always bring it up, especially when I talk to my principal friends or new principals, it was actually the man himself right here, Mr. Josh Tovar, who was on my show. And I will never forget what he said. And he always said this. He said, "Hey, you're the one who fought for that chair. You wanted that chair, so now you got to work for it." And he goes, "You can't be a principal and just be stuck with your desk right here in the chest and just not move around and do your thing." He goes, "You need to be out there, and you need to be visible, and you need to make sure that you are taking care of your teachers." And to me, that advice, I mean, even though I may not be a principal yet, maybe, I don't know, maybe somewhere in the future, but even just in my day to day, the fact that you're going out of your way to just get out of your desk and just find somebody, you greet them in the hall, you greet them in the office next to you, it makes a huge difference in the culture of your work environment. And really, you're taking care of your environment. If you take care of that environment, you're really taking care of yourself too as well, because you're trying to make sure you get rid of any negativity that's there, so everybody is on the same page. So that's a little bit about that as far as my two answers for your questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And you know what? You just made his ego kind of went.
Hey, Fonz, ahí te mando 5,000 pesos.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Fonz. Tony, Mr. National Principal of the Year 2025. Talk to me, sir. Tell me, what did you learn about your podcast and that interview that you still remember?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot about myself as well. to be honest with you. When you start putting yourself out there on social media or on a podcast, for me, I was super reluctant. I think Vaughn's talked a little bit about that imposter syndrome. And I was more reluctant when I heard somebody, I think it was Jay Shetty, talk about you're more worried about the people that you do know in your circle, that what they're going to think of you, than the millions of people that possibly out there in the world that would hear it. I was nervous to put myself out there and share, a passion of mine of sharing best practices and personalizing PD, because the way people are going to look at it. You talked a little bit, Josh, earlier about those haters, right? Mm-hmm. And people become envious, or they study great leaders, right? And I want to study great people and learn from them. I don't want to be envious of them. But I was reluctant to put my voice out there, my thoughts out there, and kind of just be vulnerable. And I think I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about my friend group and my supporters, to be honest with you, because the people that were in the circle around me, they circled around me and they were like, yo, this is really cool. Can I be on the show? And that was empowering to me and kind of gave me a license to do some of the things that I'm doing right now. So that was one of the things I really learned from podcasting, to be truthful with you. I learned about myself, about my confidence, and the imposter syndrome. But an episode that really jumps out to me, has been a couple. I've only done about 33 episodes. I've been doing this a short time, but I thought Andy Farley from Wisconsin was just really well thought out. He was the principal of the year in 2023. I had met him at the NSSP conference. I was sitting at a table and waiting for Todd Whitaker to speak, and we get there really early, and he's sitting across from me, and it's just the two of us sitting at this table. And I said, hey man, I don't know you, but what's your proudest principal effort? He was like, what? And I said, well, if you were to present here at this conference, what would you present on? He said, I'm presenting tomorrow. I said, okay. So we talked for a couple of minutes, and then I was like, well, I'll go to your session. And that's when I found out he was the principal of the year in the country, was at his session. And we started talking, we became friends. But the way he thinks, very super intentional, super strategic, academic excellence and student excellence. He really embodies a level of rigor and thoughtfulness to his curriculum in his school. And he's the #1 public school in Wisconsin, but also his leadership programs that he develops and cultivates leaders really inspired me to start my Lenape Leadership Academy at Lenape. Another one real brief quickly is I just did one the other day. It's not out there yet, but Kelly Mesmer from South Dakota. I mean, he's got a school of about 250 students, K through 12. But he's super creative of creating CTE opportunities for his students. His students drive 60 miles one way to school, right? So, and it's different from what I'm used to of 1,900 kids. And we have about, they drive maybe 6 miles and they're still late to school. And these kids are driving 60 miles, and he's providing CTE programs on a like a mobile CTE, like a mobile welding component that comes for the whole semester. Right. And they're a 4-day school week, Monday through Thursday. Right. Which is like different for me. But the way he thinks about things and the way he provides opportunities for his students and how intentional he is just that's the stuff I love. I'm learning from Effa Huckabee out in California to all these people across the country that are doing things a little bit differently, but having levels of success. And I love their approach and learning from them. So the Andy Farleys and the Kelly Mesmers and all these people, just they truly inspire me. So I love every show is slightly different, but they're sharing their best practices and the way they scaffold it and the way it's thought out and it's purposeful for their school community. It may not apply to my school community, but I can still bits and pieces of it. So that's the part that I love. I love it. It gives me so much juice and so much energy to continue to go on.
Tony, thank you so much for sharing. And I'm so glad that they have a platform to showcase this, because again, every state, every place is very different. And like you said, you can pick up a couple of nuggets here and there to adapt it to your own school. So thank you so much for sharing that and making sure that we have a place, right? There's a place to showcase all of these greatness, all these people that are doing some great things across the country. Dr. Joe Griffin. What do you have for me, sir? What have you learned so far from your podcasting world, and an interview that you just absolutely still remember?
Well, I have learned so much from this process over the course of the last year. First thing is networking and being able to, establish those connections and those relationships on a broader level. And I take that a little deeper to kind of connect it coming from where I've come from, and this could be a lesson for many educators right here. Coming from where I come from, you're not supposed to go to another neighborhood and have communication. For instance, as a high school basketball player, we had to practice at a different location that was in another neighborhood. Some of my friends did not play because they were in fear of being violated at home in the neighborhood. I didn't care. I was going to be violated because I wasn't going to miss practice. I was just that type. So I went anyway, but we had to keep in mind that's not generally what we are taught, to network, to go outside of our current environment, to find friends, to learn different ways and things of that nature. So that in itself was a big change for me. So being able to do that networking and actually make it meaningful and purposeful. Because even as a principal, a lot of times we go to conferences and we only stick with our team or the people that came with us to those conferences, and we don't mingle and talk with the other principals and things of that nature. I did that for many, many years. So I know all about it. So I'm speaking from experience right there. And the second thing is that fear of criticism that both Fonz and Tony just mentioned. You know, being able to put yourself out there and not really care what people think, being able to make sure that it's excellent, not necessarily perfect. You know, that's important. That's a mindset in itself, and able to constantly do that over and over again. You build up the confidence that you need to be whoever you need to be to help empower other people, because that's why we are educators. So one interview that stood out to me, and I have to say that all of them were really, really powerful. I think out of those 42 episodes, I may have had 20 some guests. But I would say one that really, really stands out immediately was Superintendent Toy Watts. She was the first superintendent of her district and really made history, and she got the grades academically. Data, you know, even though it's recorded in a ledger, it's your legend. I said that on my live today. It's your legend. So if you going around talking to people and explaining to them and trying to empower them to do these things in schools, your data ought to match those things that you're saying.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Griffin, for those words of wisdom and sharing everything that you did as far as what you've learned and the different that interview that just still kind of, you still remember that interview. So awesome. Thank you guys for sharing.
Big shout out to Darren. He's here in the house, Peppered.
Hey,
your name
Darren.
was spoken. We speak your name, Darren. While you were gone, we spoke your name. Hey, if anybody ever needs someone to talk about culture on a campus, invite Darren. I've invited him to MPA along with Dr. Moreno also. Hey, they bring something to the table to ensure that your campus becomes the best version of itself under your leadership. So Darren, thank you for being here on a road to awesome. Real quick, guys. We're towards the end of the show. Got 2 more questions before the lightning round. Here goes, and I'll say it real quick, my part on my end. If someone was to start a podcast right now, because allegedly it's saturated, and we can say it can be, it cannot be, but people don't understand really until you start doing a podcast how much time it takes away from everything else. People think you just put on the computer and vámonos. No. It's very time consuming, especially if you want to have a good product out there. To get talent like this panel right here, and like I feel all 66 panels have been outstanding. To get that talent out there, it takes time to reach out, to connect, and to get a response. So please understand that everyone that's doing this, I don't know, maybe Dr. Joe's getting like $10,000 per episode from YouTube. I don't know. I ain't getting any money. Probably the principal of the year is getting like $7 billion from YouTube. But
that's why they won't comment, Josh. they think we're getting that money.
Right, exactly. So the thing is, I'm telling you, everybody out there, this is a passion that we do. In other words, we have something to bring to the table to make sure that all our scholars across the United States are better served by the leaders and the educators in the classroom. So this is my one thing. Hey, and I said this in the first podcast, Mash, and I'll say it again. Hey, guys, if we reach out to you and you say yes, don't ignore us when we're following up. I understand that we're reaching out to educators to what insert your thing, and you're very busy. That's why we're calling on you, because you have a gift that could bring to this audience. But creating this format and creating the questions and creating the promotion of your show, because we're spotlighting you, we need you to make sure you respond to us when we're reaching out to you and you say, hey, are we on? And don't cancel the last minute. Please don't cancel the last minute, because you really leave a big gaping hole to try to fill as a guest or put a rebroadcast. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So my question to you is, Tony, and to the rest of the panel, I'm starting a new podcast. I'm just saying, I'm throwing that out there. Educator X is starting a new podcast. What's one obstacle that you faced that you tell them, watch out?
Yeah, I think you got to keep it simple, right? And I think you got to find your purpose and your passion of why you're doing what you're doing. I think one of the challenges for me is I've been an educator, like I said, for 27 years. I'm not super high tech, but trying to learn the field of technology through Podbean to WeVideo to promoting it on all social media platforms, that was a little different for me. That was a world that I wasn't used to. And I think that was one of the challenges and the pieces, but it's not one that you can't overcome. And I think there's good people like Josh and Darren and Jimmy and all these people out there, right? Fonz, all you guys that do all these podcasts, right? That I think that you can bounce ideas off of. But I think it's my purpose behind mine was simple. I wanted to recognize, acknowledge, and extend, like Sanfilippo talks about, all the great things that were happening from all these principals that haven't been heard of yet, and all these school leaders that haven't been heard of yet. So I think that's the piece. Like, as long as your concept and your impact and your purpose is straight, you'll find your way through. But it's not super challenging. But I agree with you, Josh. It is time consuming. The questions, the lead ups, to organizing everybody, to just taking time away from your family and from your job to do this on the side. And there's no monetary value of it, right? For me, like, I'm putting more money out than I'm getting in, because I'm putting money out and I'm not getting any money coming in. Right. So, but that's okay. I didn't get in it for the money. I think it's the right thing to do. And it like I said, it feeds me too. But I think that's one of the pieces is don't get overwhelmed by the tech and all those components, because if it's good, people will listen. If it's not, maybe you can go in a different path.
Facts. Awesome. You know what, Tony, you text me about the link and we started School PD. So I was so into School PD and prepping for the next day, making sure everything. I haven't done the link. Oh my God. Then I started stressing about that. I didn't stress about PD or the team, but I was stressed about creating the link for you three. It's that minutia that kills you, because it's in our control, but it's not in our control because our daily lives are taking up everything. Dr. Joe, one obstacle you faced that you got to tell people about?
Other than the time piece, of course, that you all just mentioned, just being consistent and gaining the trust of your viewers. You have to constantly continue to put out information that they can use. We as Americans, we're not easy to trust what people say a lot of times. So we have to hear them a lot of different ways, multiple formats, in different situations and things of that nature. So just continue to work in purpose, because when you're working in purpose, just like you mentioned, it's not about the money. It's not about anything but empowering other people. So when you're doing that, you have to just continue to work so that trust will stack up, so that trust will be gained by those people that are viewing you, because after each one, you go back and look at your views, you see that people are watching, you see that they are paying attention, but at the same time, you want to continue to just build that trust up and be that support for people.
Awesome. Thank you. Very true. Very true. Street cred. El perrote. El perrote. So let me translate to everybody else in America. The big dog with over 300 episodes. 300. Dios mío santo. Oh my Lord. Fonz, what obstacle have you found?
Obstacle, it's very similar to what everybody said. It's really just going to be the time and consistency. I mean, one of the things to note, if you are interested in being a podcaster, not many podcasters make it past episode 3, let's make it past episode 7. If you make it to episode 10, you're going to be good, and it's something that you're going to go into. You continue moving forward and do that, but it's all about being consistent too. One of the things that I will tell you all, and this is just me. I know I have my 8 to 5, but really when I get out of work at 5, I'm like, I'm going into work because this is what I do afterwards, you know. And of course I set time for family and boundaries and so on, but just to do the production, to cut out the clips, to make sure the audio is great, and editing and all of that good stuff. I mean, there's ways and there's tools to make things a lot easier, but it's still time consuming and it's a lot of money out of pocket. You don't have to invest a lot to get into it, but once you start learning that time is valuable, then you have to invest to make sure that you do have that time that you have with your family and things of that sort. But again, it's just, for me, it's just being consistent. If you say that you're going to do it weekly, do it weekly. If you're releasing, you know, twice a week, make sure you keep that consistency. And if you're going to skip a week, make sure you let your audience know, post it on social media and say, hey, we're off this week. You know, and make sure that you keep them informed and keep them in the loop, because we are all, for the most part, creatures of habit. So if we know something's going to be released that Sunday, then you better release it that Sunday. And if not, make sure you let them know, hey, we're re-releasing on Monday or something, but you keep them informed. So it's all about that. Just keeping the connections, keeping in contact with your fan base, and always too, please make sure that you also reply to any questions that your your audience may have. Don't ghost them. Always reach out and understand that they're looking for that help that you're willing to give. So make sure that if you say I'm willing to help, just email me. Make sure that you email them back and make that connection.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And our very last question before we get into the lightning round, Stick.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mendoza, because you're absolutely right. People are looking to you for those questions. And if you're going to say it, you got to do it, right? So thanks for saying that, because it's important. Guys, last question before the Échale Ganas questions that Josh is going to be sharing with you guys. Last question, we're going to start off with Joe. Joe, it's an easy question. It's a fill in the blank. Super easy. Okay. So finish the statement. Hey, educator, in 25-26.
In 25-26, be empowered every day so you can be your best self every day in the present.
Awesome. Good advice. What about you, Dr. Mendoza?
It would be improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Awesome. And Tony, hey, educator, in 25-26. He's frozen. Hey, Tony, are you frozen?
I think he's frozen. Here, let me put it in the chat real quick. Tony, log off. and
I'll finish the sentence for him. Hey, educator, in 25-26, this is Tony talking. Send me all the love since I'm the national principal of the year.
All right. Okay, so let's get going right now with the lightning round. When he comes back, we will have him fill in the blank right there. This is what happens in a live show. And it's the beauty of being real, not faking the funk. So here we go. This is, oh no, hold on. Let me block somebody. I got my first spam. There we go. That's the thing, Joe, right? We get that spam coming in. All right, here we go. I know Fonz knows this, but Dr. Joe, you might not know what it is. Joe, do you know what ganas is? Dr. Joe? Do you know what that is? Yeah. It's all right. Don't worry about it. You need to understand that is a spiritual word for all Hispanics. It's not a word in the dictionary. It's not a word that you just use laissez-faire. It is a generational word. It is a heritage word. It doesn't matter if you're Argentinian, Bolivian, Peru, El Salvador, Honduras, Boricuas, Cubans, Mexicanos. We all use this one word. This one word that is inspirational, that when someone tells it to you, Dr. Joe, someone tells it to you, It is something that was told beyond generations. Someone's great grandmother told someone to their grandmother, and they're telling it during a mariachi contest. She'll yell, "Échale ganas, mija." Or you have that crazy Mexican mom during a basketball game, and she's gonna yell, "Échale ganas, mijo." It is a generation. There is no equate. People try to say grit. No, there is no equate to ganas. So this is what I want. I want ganas. I want spirit as we answer these questions. And we got to start off con el perrote. We got to start off with Mr. 300. We got to start off with the recently new PhD in the house, Dr. Fonz. Here we go. Lightning round, all right?
Got it.
Don't make me look at you like, bro, that's like 7,000 sentences. All right, here we go. Give advice to a substitute teacher.
Substitute teacher, the lesson plan is your guide, but the students are your mission.
Read a note, an email, and or a text from a teacher or student who inspires you.
Okay, for me, I'm going to read real quick. I just had a student who graduated from Georgia Tech, and she's now a back-end software engineer for Spotify. And she sent me a message on LinkedIn. It just says here, Mr. Mendoza, thank you so much for all the encouragement at Shimatsu Elementary when I was their 6th grade teacher. I truly appreciate all the support that you have given me then and now. And thank you for introducing me to technology.
Eso. Send some flowers to an active educator who inspires you.
Active educator that inspires me, that would be Dr. Oscar Carrera, straight out of El Paso, Region 19. Make sure you follow him on all socials too as well, doing some great things.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media.
I would say George Valenzuela, Dr. Jorge Valenzuela. Please make sure you follow him. He's doing some fantastic work also as well.
And he just came to MPA.
There you go.
The Hulk or the Thing?
For me, it would be the Hulk, because I can definitely have two personalities where I'm there listening. I will go ahead and engage with you and so on. But when it comes to messing with my students and everything, I will turn green, and I am going to do anything I can for my students to defend them and make sure that they get what they need.
A Caribbean cruise or an Alaskan cruise?
Well, living down here, I definitely try the Alaskan cruise just to get out of the heat. So I'll take that Alaskan cruise to get out of the RGB heat for sure.
You have 45 minutes. What do you do? Netflix, TikTok, cardio, or weights?
Cardio, clear my mind and sweat it out.
Which decade gave us the best music?
Well, of course, the 1990s.
How can people reach you, senor?
You can find me on all socials at MyEdTechLife. So pretty much on all socials on LinkedIn, it's just going to be my profile, Alfonso Mendoza. But that's where you can find me. Check out our episodes. Check out our website, myedtech.life, where you can check out the 333 episodes. And I promise you'll find something that you can sprinkle on to what you are already doing great.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. Dr. Joe, Lightning Round, Principal of the Year. You got this. We'll get you right now. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. Just follow along. Here we go. Dr. Joe Griffin, ganas. Yo quiero ganas del corazón. Give advice to a substitute teacher.
Have the students to sit down and keep them in the room. Give them the lesson.
Read a note, an email, or a text from a teacher or student who inspires you.
Okay, I got one right here. Here it is. The start of the year does not feel the same. You know, I always told you I never wanted your job as principal, and I still don't. But I think I want to do something in curriculum in the future. All of the advice that you gave me on the instructional practices are all paying off.
Love it. Send some flowers to an active educator who inspires you.
I'm going to say Carol Jackson out of Texas, principal.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media.
I'll say Dr. Onay Chapman.
Onay Chapman. Let me get the Principal of the Year on board. All right. The Hulk or the Thing? If not, Chicago-style pizza or thin crust?
I'm gonna say the Hulk. You gotta be flexible out here, man.
Caribbean cruise or an Alaskan cruise?
I'm so ashamed. I've never been on a cruise.
All right, neither have I. We're good. All right.
Okay.
Neither have I. You have 45 minutes. What do you do? Netflix, TikTok, cardio, or weights?
Oh, cardio. I was in the sauna and on the bike today.
Hey, so was I. Which decade gave us the best music, senor?
I say the 80s.
Agreed. Just because Fonz got a doctor doesn't mean he's
Hey.
right.
I was born in
90.
81.
The 90s, por favor. How can audience reach you, senor?
All right, on social media, Joe Griffin, or email Joe at drjoegriffin.speaks.com. Joe, Joe, at drjoegriffin.speaks.com.
All right. And in honor of the Principal of the Year, we'll see if he logs in again from New Jersey. We gotta love that guy. He's the top dog of the country. We just check out what Chica says. See, try to buy some time right now. Cruises are overrated.
I've
I
been
went
to
on.
one cruise and I would never do it again either, my friend. So you know what? Me and you are sisters on that.
Really, cruises are that bad?
Wow. Okay.
I've been to one cruise and I'll never do it again. Overrated, definitely.
All right. Well, much love to Tony. Much love to Tony. Much love to everybody else out there. This is yet another opportunity that as your school year starts, a brand new page is turned. Remember, you're not alone. You choose to be alone. The beautiful thing about this thing right here, hey, it connected me with Dr. Joe. It connected me with Fonz. It connected me with everybody on the panel. I don't know anybody, but you know what? You just reach out, and that's the beauty about educators. More often than not, they will reach back and say, I got your back. Yes, let's do this together. Let's work together, and let's become the best version of ourselves. And that's why I need you to like and share this. I need you to be part of this circle. What circle? The circle of Alaska to Hawaii, of Maine to Florida, and all the way in the 48 middle, because you are on the same mission as we are. We are all builders. We're creating the best United States available in our hands, and that is our scholars. Who is it? Our scholars. And we have all of this free PD, because you know what? Education is broke, baby. And if you ain't watching the TV lately, we're going to lose some more money. So this is free PD. You don't need to get a purchase order. You don't need to get it signed by your department head. You don't have to sign by your principal and the director of finance. Along the way, it's always going to get kicked back because it's not tied to the TEKS or your curriculum. So why? Why when you could learn about AI right here? Why when you could learn about leadership right here? Why when you could learn from other New Jersey principals, all the principals of the year? It's all free. And we need you on this journey. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't cost nothing for you to like and share all of these shows and follow these people, because we're in it together. We're in the same mission. And don't forget, we're only stronger together because iron sharpens iron. Join us next week for episode 68, our We Are Family show. Cafeteria workers. We've got bus drivers coming in. We got some clerks coming in, because we are all the family. We all make this system run, and we need you to be here. Like and share. We care about you. Panel, stick on. Don't go. Peace out. Say goodbye, everybody.
Peace